What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast Jets Flight Squad. We got Gunny, we got Italy Jet, we got DKBX Jets. We are recapping the Vikings game versus the Jets and also seeing what's going to happen with the Bills and Jets this weekend as they go to Buffalo to face against the Buffalo Bills. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Regardless of the L we just took against Minnesota, I can only feel good about what we've seen with this team, man. I can only feel good about it.
Hey, it's a great season to be a Jets fan, so I have no complaints.
Facts. It's a game that is gut punching when we lost, but it's not like a game to where we're the two best fourth quarter teams in the NFL. So that was really cool to see what it was like to basically against a playoff team. It felt like a playoff game. It felt like this was a true test to see a 10-2 team against the Jets. So it was really cool in the atmosphere. It was, there's stuff we definitely need to work on. There's definitely stuff that we can hold our head high on. But overall, Gunny, we'll start with you. What do you think about the overall outcome, Vikings versus Jets?
I think it told us a lot, man. I think it showed us that we do have a team that can go ahead and go toe to toe with anybody in the league, right? Mm-hmm. The Vikings right now are a 9-2 team. They're 10-2 now. They've literally are 9-0 in games decided by one possession or less, right? Well, I can't get no less than that. 9-0, man, talks about a team that's real gritty, real clutch, and we had a chance to still beat them. All the way to the end, literally down to the final seconds of the game, the Jets were in it. So for me, it showed that we're able to go ahead and go toe to toe with anybody because this wasn't a team that they didn't have offensive players or they couldn't play deep. Yeah, their passing defense was sus, but their rushing defense is respectable. They do have a little bit of pass rush, and the Jets adjusted after the first quarter, I would say. And you saw the offense get going. The defense figured out what they were doing wrong early on in the game. They adjusted. I think seeing that also from our team should be very, very encouraging. The ability to actually adjust, like, hey, whatever we were going to do ain't working. We need to go ahead and start, doing something different. They changed the game plan up. You saw them stop them. They couldn't score anymore. And tell them to the wire, man, I'm proud of this team, Doug. Like I am. It's one of those things where when we lost the game, I sat there on my couch and I was mad as hell. Like, God damn it, man. I can't believe six shots at the red zone. We could only do it once, score one time. I was heated. I started saying all kinds of things about why we didn't rush the ball, on the 1 yard line, like all kinds of stuff. But then I calmed down and I was just like, damn, we just went toe to toe with the Minnesota Vikings. This is a team that is 9-2, 10-2 now. They're literally second in the NFC. And we went toe to toe with them. And
they're number one in their division too. Yeah.
Number one. So for me, I was just like, all right, let's be honest. This was a really, really good team. Like you said, playoff caliber team. Yep. And we just went toe-to-toe with them right now.
And it's the atmosphere. The atmosphere was unbelievable.
So I'm pumped, man. I'm excited. Right now, I'm ready for Buffalo. And I feel nothing but good about this coming week's game.
Thanks. What about you?
Yeah. I don't want to call it a moral victory, but in the scope of what it was, knowing that we're okay, knowing that what is it? The Vikings are 10-0 now in one-score games, right, including us.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So we're talking about a team that's kind of the pinnacle of being clutch at this point in time in the season, and for whatever reason I don't understand, isn't getting national credit. Everybody thinks their season is ready to fall to the wayside with 5 games left. So that doesn't make a whole lot.
Correct. Yeah, 5 games left. Yeah.
Worst case scenario for them, they're going 10-6. Like I don't understand. So I think the playoff vibes is, we chatted about this a little bit. I think that was spot on. This is kind of our first glimpse of going into the home stretch of games, seeing how we perform under pressure. I think this Buffalo game is another huge key for us as well, because it's kind of having it kind of has the same ramifications the Patriots games had. We could walk away still being the division leader in terms of wins if we take down the Buffalo Bills, and it looks very promising for us if the Dolphins can't get another division win. So it's a huge look. I think obviously the red zone inefficiency was the biggest difficult thing to stomach after that Vikings game. And, this will kind of feed into, I guess, the topic for today. But irregardless, you walk away, unlike previous seasons, knowing that we're expecting them to deliver on the potential, but it's not just kind of empty. It's not an empty hope like we're used to, I guess is the best way to put it. We've seen the production on the field, and we've seen the adjustments that they've been able to make. So I'm feeling pretty confident.
I like that. Good stuff, gentlemen. For me, we could have definitely won this game. I literally lost my mind when White overthrew Wilson. Just wide open. I feel like that could have been a touchdown. I feel like I still think White is the guy. This is his job to lose. I just think he has to work on some things. I mean, it's obvious he threw a little bit behind the guys at times, but he definitely, when we needed to step up, he did step up. He's got to tell. You can tell when he's going to do things. He focuses on one guy. He throws it. His vision is not all the way around. And also, when he was rushing for that touchdown, the refs were BS in this game, in my opinion. But when he was rushing, you could definitely tell that they were all over him. You can tell he was going to rush for that touchdown. So for me, I think if Mike White can continue to work on things and develop as I really think he is, I think he's going to be okay. This Bills game is going to be tough going into Buffalo. The weather always changes. But overall, I think it sucks, but I think there's stuff that we could definitely work on. Gunny, I want to talk to you about, and Banks, you can talk about it. What do you think about Mike LaFleur's play calling, not only in the red zone, but overall against the Vikings?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I think overall the play calling was good, and I know a lot of people are gonna go ahead and say like, "Oh man, he was trash. Like he can't call plays." But we got into the red zone 6 times. You can't belittle that or take away from that. 6 times, we got into the red zone. Now, execution maybe is a whole different aspect. Now, I do believe he got too cute with it when we got down to the red zone on the 1 yard line. What are you doing? What do you do? Hey, our boys versus your boys. Just run the ball, man. And I think to me that was the most frustrating part is that he's creative. We love that creativity about him, but it's not always about it. Let me see if I can outduel the other player, man. Sometimes it's just play football. Let's go ahead and put the helmets on. Our guys versus your guys. It was 1 yard. And I think that level of sticking to his guns of just trying to be overly creative in the red zone, especially on the 1 yard line, was just too much. Would I love to have seen him run the ball? Yes, I would have preferred we run the ball 4 times given the opportunity, because I believe we would have gotten into the end zone. But in the same token, people that are saying, "Oh, he should be fired," and I think that's just ridiculous.
It's bullshit.
Like,
no,
that's just dumb. I mean, that's just dumb, man. You've seen what this offense can look like when somebody can see the whole game plan and can operate. It's just ridiculous. And to me, I'm only disappointed in him because I felt like he wanted to do too much when we were down on the 1 yard line. Sometimes let's just go, hey, my guy is better than your guy, and we're about to prove it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that's my only frustration with that. We didn't run enough, especially when we were down on their 1 yard line, and that could have literally been the game had we just been able to go ahead and get into the end zone.
Agreed. What about you, Max?
Yo, I'm about 100%, in the same area that Gunny is. I think it was interesting to me because I just also seen like a podcast or something JJ Watt was going on, and he specifically talked about the situation where we were at the 1, not for the Jets team, but just in general, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situations. And the hardest play for a defense to try to stop is a quarterback sneak. We could have ran one of those. We already seen a successful instance of that in the same game. I'm with Gunny. We could have ran the game. It took a minute, but we seen Zonovan Knight finally start running violently, breaking off games. You say you have confidence in terms of Robert Saleh in the running back room with Ty Johnson on 3rd downs. You know, I hate Rich Cimini a lot. Like, the man's like a nuisance, but I think he was spot on when he mentioned, like, we didn't even give the illusion of a running game. In the end there, those last couple plays, empty formation, nobody in the backfield to even, make an extra linebacker, defensive lineman think about it. I won't even say it was necessarily too cute of play calling. We know that he tends to get pass happy pretty quick. And I think maybe that was a bit of his downfall. But in the same token, post game, we hear Robert Saleh mention that we hear Robert Saleh mention that Mike LaFleur essentially called their best plays they felt were going to get him into the end zone. And to his credit, couple of plays here and there were two passes that I remember that potentially could have been caught. The damning one was definitely the Barrios drop. I think execution and personnel is the biggest issues that Mike LaFleur has to work out. Why isn't Elijah Moore a primary target? Yes, Barrios got open. Yes, the catch wasn't made, etc. But you have to imagine Denzel Mims could have had a package there. Tyler Conklin and CJ could have been used if you want to go the height advantage. Elijah Moore, better hands, better route running. Maybe he could have got that extra half a yard of distance to make that catch from Mike White. So those are really the two key areas that I look at. Maybe it's too many weapons for Mike LaFleur right now. And he's, kind of worried with how chemistry has been up and down on offense and satisfying everybody. But very much in the same vein, it's ridiculous to say the man needs to be fired. We're still talking about, by the way, a quarterback that spent the majority of his practice time as a third string quarterback or operating flight school, AKA practice squad reps. And he's suddenly thrown into the starting limelight, and he's producing almost what are we averaging, like 430 something yards of offense in like the last 2 weeks or something crazy?
Yeah. 462 yards.
Yep. That was about to say
these are numbers. These are numbers we could have only ever dreamed of with anybody else, and he's making it look like it's normal business.
Right. It's crazy. It's not only crazy, it's something, and this also is just like what is the sixth game? This is fifth game. This is fifth game, so he's going into his sixth game. That's unbelievable for a quarterback, especially when he's been cut 4 times by the Jets, cut by the Cowboys. I mean, it's just a wonderful story now. But keeping going and rolling with this, what do you guys think about the Jets defense? On how they handle things. What do you think? Gunny, you first.
I'm a little upset. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm a little upset. I think they started off a little slow, a little stagnant. Mm-hmm. I wasn't
first
expecting,
quarter,
yeah. And there's something going on with our tackling, man. We got to figure that out, because if we do that against the Bills, man, I think that's gonna be a problem. And you've kind of seen it, man, since like right before about a week or two before Thanksgiving. You started seeing a bit of a lackadaisicalness when they came to the tackling, and they need to get that fixed. Yeah. The defense, although they started off slow, I got to admit, they decided we need to stop playing around, and they started playing Jets defense. You know what I'm saying? When second quarter, second half especially, they went off. Our boy Q got his 9th sack of the season, new career high. He's definitely on track to go ahead and hit another 3 to 4 before the year's over. And I think right now we saw a couple of drop opportunities from our secondary, which is also kind of frustrating. So there's still work that needs to be done. As great as his defense has been, there's still a lot of, in my opinion, like issues that should be fixable. Oh, yeah. And I could only imagine if they get this kind of figured out going into this last stretch of the season, because as good as they've been, they really can be much better. And so for me, frustrated with how they started off, but very proud of how they finished it. They kept the Jets in the game. They allowed the offense to kind of come back. So, yeah, man, I think the tackling was concerning, and those slow starts, we can't have that. You can't have a slow start going up against the Buffalo Bills. That could be all it needs for them to go ahead and run away with the game.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Banks?
Everything that this defense has pulled off this entire season, and I'm not even individually picking out any weeks, has been thoroughly impressive to me, because when we take a look back at what everybody would have projected this season, nobody was taking a look at us as a top 10 defense. Maybe middle tier is what I generally remember from everybody. The defensive line was supposed to be a strong point, yes, and it took us a couple weeks into the season to figure that out, but then we've been dominant ever since for the most part. And the linebacker core we thought was going to be a huge weakness. Gunny brought this up weeks ago, right? The turnaround in this unit has been absolutely ridiculous. CJ, I don't want to say he's Baltimore prime form, but for the type of injuries he's suffered and the age, the man looks as good as you can ask.
Yep.
Especially with the losing culture and him kind of being, earmarked as one of the reasons why we haven't reached success in year one and things like that. And the young core, the safety unit, everybody was scared over. And then the cornerback unit,
was injured and opted out too.
We thought the cornerback position could be great, potentially special. But again, this was a year or two out projection. This defense specifically developed so fast that I think it's caught everybody by surprise. Internally, externally, media, fans, opponents, etc. Everybody's like, well, damn, now we actually need to scheme up how we're going to get touches in some of these guys' hands that we have. Because when you take a look at the defensive line, they're hitting quarterbacks on average, 7-8 times a game. They maybe are converting 30% of those into sacks, which is crazy. And then you take a look at the linebacker unit. We now have Quan running around there, smacking people left and right. If Quincy's eyes and his pre-snap reads look accurate, he's worse than Quan is. The boy comes out and he's like a concussion or an injury for an offensive player waiting to happen. And I can't say enough the job that's been done with turning around that safety position. Jordan Whitehead was looking like a scary acquisition for a minute. Admittedly so. I was still behind him. I thought we're still playing him a bit out of position. I'm not seeing him as close to the line of scrimmage as I've been saying for weeks and weeks now. But still, you see it. Coverage, a work in progress, but it is what it is. LaMarcus Joyner is really the highlight for me, as I think he's the oldest guy on the team starting, right?
He's one of them, but he's not the guy. He's one of them.
So he's up there, though. But he's coming back from an injury that was bad. He was facing retirement. So there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle that make you think it's easy for him to underperform and just call it in. So I'm thoroughly impressed through and through. It doesn't matter whether we start slow, we play a full 60 minutes of tough defense. It doesn't necessarily matter to me because we've been riding our defense the entirety of the season anyways. At some point, every defense is going to buckle a little bit. And that's just the nature of it. We've seen the Legion of Boom fall. We've seen the Denver Broncos championship defense that last season with Peyton Manning kind of have a few hiccups. So it occurs. What I love the most is that you literally can almost see adjustments from series to series in how the offense is attacking us and how we're responding. And that's the most impressive thing, that not only is the coaching staff getting it right with how we need to continue to defend that said team, but you're also seeing the actual players respond in real time to it. And we haven't seen that before really since Rex Ryan. You got a couple glimpses of it with Todd Bowles. So the arrow is extremely up for me.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Hats off to Zerline. I called it. I knew he was going to go these 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 because he's in a dome. 60-yarder jet record for any kicker. Props to him. I think he'll have a little bit of a tough time in Buffalo, but I think he'll be fine overall because, it's in Buffalo. You never know what the weather's going to do there. Are we worried about Max Mitchell being out? My personal opinion, no. But what do you guys think? One of you, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I heard a lag and heard Gunny.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm no longer worried, and it's kind of like a reverse thought process for me in that we've seen so many injuries to this tackle position. And by the way, we don't know what's happening with Max Mitchell. We probably won't know for a week.
Yeah.
We've seen so many. I think this might be an NFL record. I got to actually look it up with how crazy this is. But we're talking about starting our 7th different offensive line rotation in terms of the tackle.
Look it up now.
I'm looking it up right now, actually.
I think this is correct. If it's not 7, it's 6. Yeah, so Mekhi Becton goes down, George Fant goes down, Dwayne Brown has an injury. We bring on Mike Rimmer, Cedric Ogilvie goes down,
Right.
Max Mitchell, he comes back. Now he ends up on the non-football injury list, and Mike Rimmers is supposed to be the official backup, and luckily we bring the doctor in. But irregardless, I think the job that John Benton and you can call the running staff as well into this, but the job they've been able to do, because everybody will tell you how important chemistry is on the offensive line with getting these guys to produce. We don't really miss a beat. Nate Herbig was probably the most important miss that we had when we seen him out for those games, and that was because we couldn't run inside the tackles anymore. I'm confident George Fant, because he did look more impressive than Max Mitchell in that Vikings game. Maybe that extra time served him well. It's as solid as a backup plan as we're going to get. So I don't think there should be any concerns. George Fant hopefully bounces back. He's still playing for a new contract, so he needs to try to make it look good. And, Mike Rimmer's not getting any snaps with us so far. He's essentially been in flight school. I'm sure he's at least up to speed game plan wise with things. I'm not worried.
What do you think, Gunny?
I'm more concerned about Max Mitchell, the individual, vice Max Mitchell, the football player, because the non-football injury list, man, it's a very vague list, man. And
it's like Vinny Curry. It's like Vinny Curry. What happened last year?
Yeah, right. And then that's what I'm saying. I'm more concerned. Like, man, is this some kind of medical concern that they found out that they weren't aware of? Is
Did you hear the other crazy
rumor? Which is what?
They said that they believe when he got yanked and they replaced him with George Fant that he blew up on the sideline. And there's no film or anything like this, but basically that he had a bad reaction to being benched. And this is a punishment like we've done with Elijah Moore.
Oh, shit. I did not heard that.
I don't think this is true by all, but just curious if you happen to heard that.
I'd be surprised because Max Mitchell, man, like he comes off as a very reserved kid. And this is a kid who also wasn't expected to start this year. And he was getting nothing but props for coming, you know what I'm saying? So I'd be surprised if that's it.
Yeah,
but if that is it, that's I'm more power to freaking coach to be like, all right, sit your ass down. You're not going to talk to the coach and stuff like that, right? So I don't think we're going to know, man. I don't think we'll even know for the rest of this season. I think if we make the playoffs, once we make the playoffs, they can reactivate him to come back. You know what I'm saying? Then we might hear about some of that aspect. But in all actuality, George Fant looked good last week.
Yeah, except that penalty.
But even that penalty, I think Braxton Berrios kind of 50-50 because Braxton Berrios cuts in up takes the field.
Too,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but yeah,
penalties. It's you want to win a football game.
It still sucks.
Yeah.
But I think he definitely did better than Max was struggling
for sure.
Max Mitchell was
he got beat a lot.
So he got beat a lot, and I think he's back at that right tackle position, which is his natural position from before we had him go to left tackle. I'm not as worried about it. I'm more worried about whether or not our guys, knock on wood, can make it to a full game. I'm more worried about that. Like, man, our swing tackle now is it Rimmer?
I think it's Remmers and LDT. They brought them up, and then Sam Schulster is now on the
is. New practice squad addition.
Yeah, exactly.
But isn't LDT guard? He's a guard.
Yeah,
right?
he's a guard. So he's never played any kind of tackle snap. So I don't really think that'd be.
So then it's really just Rimmer, bro, and that's scary to me, man. Like, to me, that's scary. But on the other side, the Buffalo Bills right now are down their number one pass rusher. Right, Von Miller's not going to be there.
And then maybe Milano too.
And Milano right now was a knee injury today. Didn't practice.
But Power and White's back. So
wait, do you guys remember because I'm trying to remember what the depth chart looked like at the beginning of the season. Were we carrying two backup tackles, or I thought we had one and then it was two or three like guard/centers that we had?
Yeah,
you're right.
You're right.
You're right.
We only had one.
Okay, so it's essentially that wouldn't bring a concern to me, right? Because that's essentially what we plan to go into the season with. Granted, it was back
for
George Fant, but
for the record, yes, the New York Jets have experienced the most injuries on the offensive line of any NFL team, dating back to as early as 2003. That's the furthest back it goes. However, we are not the most injured team in the NFL.
Yeah, we're
in
not.
that time frame.
Yeah.
The Patriots, oddly enough, had an average of 17 injuries per week. the Colts at 14, the
Is it
Packers at
Rams?
14.
Is Rams
No.
up there?
No, Rams
Wait,
are
we saying injuries as a whole, or are we talking about
whole.
season-ending injuries?
As a whole.
No, he's saying whole.
Okay,
Yeah,
so these are more like nicks and bruises for the Patriots, because I don't remember them putting too many guys on.
No,
me neither.
This is nicks and bruises. Like on average per week, how many individuals are inactive due to injury?
That's crazy.
So man. So
we potentially
17?
still may have the most season-ending injuries.
Season-ending? I didn't look that up. You're probably right. Because
I don't think any teams had this much since that.
And the Ravens.
I can't even remember.
The Ravens probably a year or two ago.
No, I'm thinking, the Ravens and probably the Cowboys from like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that now.
Wow. All right, let me see here. NFL injuries for the last 5 seasons.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But yeah, so
at one position though, it's crazy.
That is insane. Dude, yeah, but apparently
we have the
by far
luck with that. But it's the Jets. It happens all the time with us. So what? I'm not even surprised anymore at all. There's always now there's a flu bug going around.
Bro, I heard
it's like the Vikings. I heard had a flu bug going around too. So it's not just us. So
I mean, it's the change of season. I'm not surprised.
Exactly. It's around this time. It's around this time.
It's still frustrating though, bro.
Oh,
it's frustrating though, man. Like
the Jets would, just like Coach Saleh said on the sideline with Barrios. This would happen.
Oh, no, it happens to the Jets. Only happens to the Jets.
That's so dumb.
I mean, I think with our tackle position, man, I think we'll be all right this week, man.
Yeah, I really do think so.
George Fant being back is huge.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dwayne Brown has played average, offensive tackle for the team. So that's good. We've actually seen freaking Tomlinson's punk ass finally figure it out. He's had a couple of good games now. Bro, we've been waiting. It took him long enough, dog. But hey, I'd rather have him figure it now than not figure it at all.
Maybe guys, one of his guaranteed money. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't care what it is. As long as he's doing his damn job, bro. Because I was really starting to think like I was really high on this dude, bro.
Yeah, we all were.
I was like, how did this dog?
Dude, I mean, that's one of Saleh's boys. They love each other. It's and then
that had to be.
And I know we all were talking about like, is it the Trent Williams ish like vibe? Is it something like that? But
to be fair though, let's be honest, Dwayne Brown get on that side, and it took him a couple of games. But since Dwayne Brown, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So I'm starting to think like it could be that's how he's looked so good.
Yeah,
he needs at least average to above average left tackle play, and he doesn't seem to mess up. Yeah. But I mean, right now I feel good about our offensive line. It's not great.
Yeah, I am too.
I feel good about it.
Something was off with Mitchell. I just felt like something was just because usually Mitchell comes in and it usually it's like when you're back from injury, it just didn't look right. He kept getting beaten, but his attitude wasn't there because I saw him throw some fits in the huddle. And I'm like, okay, something's up.
It's got to be. I think something happened in the family, bro. I think there's some family stuff going on, bro.
I hope not, but yeah.
I hope it's nothing too crazy.
I don't think the list works like that, though. When I looked it up, it literally only says, and maybe this is where the gray is at, but if you just want to go based off the definition, it says they can only go on there for a non-football related injury or an illness. Like it has to be literally one of those two things.
Yeah. Like Vinny Curry. It was a blood clot. Yeah, I get that.
Exactly. If it's like a family personal issue or something, it would just be up to the team to like dismiss them.
Yeah.
But if it's a family issue that's potentially got him mentally like off, doesn't that count? Like if it's an emotional mental type thing?
I'm gonna need an HR consultant because I'm not sure
I'm just saying, it's 2022, bro. Hurt feelings apparently count as injuries nowadays. So
Gunny's not wrong. Gunny's not wrong.
It's 2022, bro.
Gunny's not wrong.
But I mean, I feel like because he if anything, I feel like maybe he rushed himself back. And we've seen this maybe with another player too. He rushed himself back. It wasn't quite right.
That's what I think.
But then
I don't know. It's up in the air. I don't even really care to speculate too much because I'm just hoping for the best for the kid.
Exactly. Me too. All love.
Yeah, he played really well for us, man, and like in a pinch.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Rook, sorry, we need your ass out there now, bro. So I hope he's okay, man. I hope it's whatever it is, he can get through it, and he's back next year.
I think we got
this question
here real quick, and then we might want to switch over to prediction stuff real quick.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Do y'all think Brown retires at the end of the year?
Depends on his arm. I want to know more about his arm, if he has surgery or not, because he's in a very tight cast. Like that's like one of those casts where it's like that's really in there. So I want to know more about his arm before I say that, if he's going to retire or
not. I think he's done, bro. I think he's done, and the only reason why I say that is because when he came back off of IR, he legitimately said, "I couldn't." He thought about it, thought about the surgery and hanging it up.
Yeah, you're
he
right.
says, "But I couldn't take the money and feel like as a man I honored my obligation to this team." And then he decided to suck it up and come play. And I think that comment alone stated that, okay, I owe you guys at least this. Y'all brought me in, y'all taking the shot on me, y'all gave me this money because you could have walked away and just took the money and we couldn't do shit about it. And I think he felt like, nah, I owe this team, you know what I'm saying, to get out there, give him my best. And I think he started having fun. I think he started having fun with this squad too, right? Seeing the chance I can go out, potentially another playoff run, whatever the case might be. But I do think Dwayne Man's going to call it a day after this because he pretty much kind of like hinted at it. He said, at the very least, I had to come out here and give him my best try because I feel like I would have taken their money if I just walked away. So I think he'll be done after this season.
That's one look, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm not even going to make it long-winded in the interest of time. I think he retires. He's giving it his final kudos. This is his walk-off season, if you will. So
future Hall of Famer.
I appreciate what he's doing significantly, considering, and the one contract that always hangs over my head, and then I'll leave it at that, is that cornerback contract that we dished out to
Tremaine Johnson.
Johnson.
Oh,
I already know.
I know. God, don't even remind me, dude. I was there. I was there when that whole shit went down with the Rams because they were like trying to get him back, but then the Jets offered him so much money, and I'm like, Rams didn't even want him back. Like, what are you doing, Jets? I was so.
Bro, we just finished eating that salary like last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
You're correct about
just like
that,
last year, bro. Oh man. All right, predictions.
For me, I've been going back and forth. I've been changing my prediction answer all day, and I think I'm going to change it again. I think I'm going to keep changing until I wake up Sunday morning. Right now, I think it's going to be 15-13 Bills. It's going to be tight. It's going to be all the way to the end. I mean, it's in Buffalo. I mean, if we don't execute them in the beginning, they're the kind of team that burns us. So if we don't capitalize on that, it's gonna be a little bit ugly.
Okay, DK.
I was just watching the NFL preview on this, and I kind of gave a glimpse into my thought process. I think I went 27. I want to say I put 27-23 Jets dub. Mostly for the reasons I already highlighted, right? With this win, this puts us in the lead in terms of division wins. I think the entire team understands how critical this is as another opportunity to, and it's weird, but I find us having like a lot of parallels to the Seattle Seahawks team that went, what was it, like 7-9 that season they won the division. And then you've seen them skyrocket off. I kind of see that same thing happening because we do the Bills, and then we have, all we have left is the Dolphins matchup, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
for then we got Bills, then we've got Jacksonville,
Lions,
then Detroit, and then we've got the
Seattle.
Okay,
yeah,
we already played
Seattle, and then the Dolphins.
Then Miami, yeah.
So I think Robert Saleh, he doesn't really put a whole lot of emphasis on like certain games. But I think if he wants to relay the message of like playoffs and living in the moment and everything, this is definitely the game to do it. This is the best way from a division record and playoff standing point for the team to be in control of their own destiny after dropping the ball twice. So I think we get the job done. Garrett Wilson's been on an absolute tear lately. I think maybe we see another player to step up. Zonovan Knight's been looking fun lately. So I'll continue to trust in the process. I think 27-20. We gave them fits last time. I think I readjusted a little bit. I think 27-20 yet.
Okay. So for me, I keep hearing about how scary these guys are at home, right? And I I don't get like the hype. I know they beat the Steelers like what 40 something to 3, but that was early on in the season, and the Steelers are trash. They played the Packers and they beat them, I think, by like a touchdown, or maybe it was a 10 points, something like that, at home. But I mean, the Packers, like, really, have they been impressive? And they got 17 points or something, or 20 points on them or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, they played the Browns at home too, and they took them to a 1-possession game. And this was Jacoby Brissett, right? So again, a team that we beat that really, you can tell right now, is just in flux. And I think for me, they took an L against the Vikings at home. I want to say it was, Vikings at home.
Yeah.
And they allowed the Vikings, or they scored 30 points on the Vikings, right? And the Vikings scored 30. It was a field goal or a touchdown? 37 or 33. Either way,
I think it was a field goal. 33.
So then, you know what I'm saying? At home, you get beat by the Vikings. And I think after seeing what we saw on Sunday, the Jets were definitively the better team. The Minnesota Vikings were not the better team on Sunday. We could not freaking execute. 6 times we got to the red zone. I think it was 4 of those times we were within 10 yards of the end zone. We couldn't execute. I don't think that's going to be something we see happen again. I do think this time around we're playing these guys, and we're better than we were the first time on offense. I think Mike White opens up the playbook. These guys can actually feast, and their skill sets have been proven to be, I would say, top. Garrett Wilson right now, to me, man, is a top 10, at worst, top 15 wide receiver. But I think his talent is top 5. I do believe Corey Davis is still a top 15 wide receiver in the league. I think Elijah Moore is a top 20 wide receiver in the league. Maybe even better if we can get him the ball, see what he can do. He freaking drags his toes, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know what I'm saying, he gets a little bit up there. I don't think the Bills, man, are as scary as everybody thinks they are. I just don't. I think ever since we played them, you saw cracks in the armor, and they've been getting by. They beat up on the Patriots, and even then, the Patriots dropped 2 interceptions and missed out on a fumble recovery. So 3 turnovers right there, and there were about 5 turnover-worthy plays by Josh Allen. The Patriots just couldn't execute. So for me, I think we're going into this thing, and one thing we got going our way, we're not the ones that are shook right now. Most people had us getting swept by the Bills. We already got our win. They need to win this game. We want to win it. They need to win this game, because otherwise, y'all lost to the Jets twice, 2 different quarterbacks, and they're supposed to be Super Bowl favorites. So for me, I do think the Jets pulled this one off. We haven't lost a single game this season back-to-back. It seems convincingly enough that the last time we beat the Bills, we had just came off of a loss against the Patriots. And now we're coming off of a loss against the Minnesota Vikings, a team that also beat the freaking Bills. I think the trend stands. We're going to go ahead and alternate wins, losses up until this week, and then we go on this run. But, yeah, I think the Jets pulled it off 27-21. At the end of the day, I really believe in this defense, and I think Mike White adds another element to this offense that they didn't see before when they played. And they might have played Mike White last year, but the Mike White they played last year didn't have nowhere near the tools he has now. And this is a man, I think, right now fighting for his livelihood. This is it. Mike White knows this is it. He's got to make a name for himself this season if he wants to have a shot at ever being a starter in the NFL. I think he's going to feast this weekend.
Well, our predictions have been crap the last few weeks, so we'll see. Maybe it might change. So maybe it might change again on Sunday. 100%. So we'll see what happens. It's always been bad, but we always feel confident or don't feel confident. They go in the game, it's always a different outcome.
Hey, but here's what's important: we give very solid evidence as to why we are backing up our predictions.
Yeah.
Hey, what you saying?
You learn a little something or two when you come on the Jets flight squad.
Got you. We all gave reasons as to why we believe it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
We didn't just say like, oh, yeah, Jets win. No. All right, bye, guys.
I'm just messing. I'm messing. All right, guys. So that's going to end the Jets flight squad. You'll see us back at our regular time and day next week. But yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. Stay safe. Banks, he has Green Bean coming on his show on Friday. So congrats to you on that. I'm going to be interviewing Santana Moss on another network with a co-host. I'm pretty Pretty excited about that
nice.
on Friday morning. And then Gunny's everywhere. You can catch him anywhere. With probably
You'll
some
see.
giveaway, some trolls, some giveaway, some anything. I mean, it'll be fun.
I'm out here, man. I'm out here.
Hey, and we are all out here, which is all good. That's what we try to do, right? That's us up there, Jets Flight Squad. You guys have a good night. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. See ya.
Appreciate it. Love y'all.
Go
Have a good
Jets.
one.
Good night, guys.